Major John Madden in Veracruz, Mexico. I've been down in Mexico for about a year and have learned a lot. A lot of the crazy notions we have in the U.S. about Mexicans. Some of them coming from our last president who went out of his way to spread disinformation about Mexican immigrants. The Mexican people are extraordinary, and it starts with childhood. Mexican kids are loved by a rich extended family that usually includes grandparents and aunts and uncles. They are systematically, that's one of my servers from the restaurant, she's so cute and great with her boyfriend, that's great. Systematically touched by so many people, listened to Mexican parents and the whole family, aunts and uncles. If a kid wants to talk, someone's going to listen. They are safe because unless they're in cartel areas, they don't have to worry about gun violence in Mexico. There just aren't guns. They never were spoiled, meaning they never were told that they have to be afraid of strangers. That started in the U.S. with my generation. We got away. We were the last kids in the woods. I'll put a link to that book. We were allowed to play in the woods. But there were widely publicized tabloid-type stories about kids getting kidnapped around my generation. And from then on, parents in the U.S. have pretty much all felt that if they are real, honest, responsible parents, they will teach their kids don't look strangers in the eye, don't have anything to do with strangers. They got to be family or very close friends. That's not true in Mexico. In Mexico, they want their kids make eye contact with everybody and play with strangers. If the stranger seems like a good person, then the parent will be looking on going, nice, look, he's good with people, isn't he? Yeah, that's the way it is. So I made a video the other day of two adorable 14 and 15-year-old girls playing on the beach. And I went on to extol how wonderful youth is. Teenage, wild, young, teen, and preteen energy. That's true in Mexico. It's absolutely true in Mexico. And strong Latino cultures. I found the same thing in Weslaco, Texas, where the Latino culture, the boys are wild and coarse and rough and sweet. So I feel a need to make a correction because I don't think it is that way in the U.S. There's all kind of assorted random pressures on kids. There's a wildly split society where people hate each other over their politics. That's not going on in Mexico. People don't take politics quite that seriously in Mexico. And it's not covered 24 hours a day by cable news. People stay informed, often through YouTube. One of the National Public Radio NPR podcasts had a show where the psychiatrist had written a book saying our kids are not okay, and how much anxiety kids are carrying around in the U.S. from childhood through teen. That's not the case in Mexico. The two girls you will see, and I'll put a link, the two girls you will see frolicking on the beach, they are representative. They're not the exception. But I think they'd be hard to find in the U.S. A very intelligent 17-year-old girl, middle class. She comes from money and she was traveling with her family to the U.S. That was clear. But I met her in Victoria, Mexico. And she said to me, when we hang out with our American counterparts, kids our age, we don't enjoy their company. They're stiff as boards. They're not expressive. No, they're trying to do it right or some crap like that. They're working. They're just not alive like we are. And that is the case. Now, you may have a child or a preteen or a teen who is spectacular, and I ran across some in the U.S., of course. But the tendency is that Middle-class parents want their kids to look good. In Mexico, they want them to be happy. Yeah. They're not worried about, does this kid behave well or make me... Kids get cut a lot of slack in the Coppel stores or in the Hotel Mar Y Tierra, just right over there. A little boy was running circles around the sofa his mom was in, just to keep himself busy while she was checking her email or whatever. And he was harming no one. He just was happily running circles around the sofa. And I went up to her and I said, "Excuse me, ma'am," and in my kind of rough Spanish, "You are an amazing parent. Not many parents in the U.S. would allow their kids to be running around in circles in the hotel lobby." And she looked at me with the happiest, sweetest expression and said, "You're so happy. That's what they want. That's what the kids want, and that's what the parents want for them here." So, careful of generalizations. What I say generally true in Mexico is almost always, it's incredibly consistent. I run across exceptions where kids were from broken homes or something, but it's not very often. And what I say negative about the U.S. may not be true in all cases, but as a tendency, yeah, kids are happier in Mexico. And my response to that NPR show about our kids are not okay, I said, send mental health teams down to Mexico, learn how to do it right. This is a solid culture. It's not a broken culture. It's an intact culture, and it's a spectacularly healthy culture.